Well, hey there, sluggers. I gotta say, it's good to have you back.
Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and it is great to be back, Meguro, and, yeah, we are now in part numero uno of the cleanup video. By which I mean, this one primarily being focused on getting all the Lucky Emblems, as you'll be seeing in very abridged fashion, and in turn also exploring some of the places that we've visited before, but now again. And yeah, compared to the last time we visited Thebes, you know, which was all destroyed and full of the hurdle, well, now everything seems to be on the mend. They're on the road to recovery. But yeah, when you return to these, well, do you still have Heartless to fight? Do you still have, you know, things to do and, you know, mini-games to complete, which we will be spending the next 2 or 3 videos covering, so don't worry, believe you me, we'll be getting our money's worth with Kingdom Hearts 3. And, yeah, a lot of it is primarily going to be looking for the Lucky Emblems, which I suppose just for the sake of having more to talk about. Yeah, the Lucky Emblems, basically Mickey Mouse heads that, well, pretty much a key for you to getting the secret ending of the game. As well as, I also believe, well, a certain Keyblade that you'll get to play with, come the Remind DLC. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show off. In the meantime, we're pretty much just sort of running about the town, getting our lay of the land, and, yeah, just seeing all these wares and people finally returning to normal life. Well, normal as it can be in Greece, where ancient Greek gods live and all that kind of thing. But yes, in any case, so, what I'm going to be spending a majority of the parts doing, by the way, there was a Lucky Emblem right there, but I just zoomed past it, because I am a fool. But yeah, because of the fact I'm sort of warping all over the place, I am going to give you the general location of where each one is, but, yeah, you're really going to pay attention to visual clues, but otherwise, well, yeah. I've also gotten a few along my journey, so yeah, probably not the most comprehensive Lucky Emblem guide, but this should help you capture some of the ones that aren't quite as easily noticeable, for lack of a better phrase. So yeah, I don't know, the cleanup video, here's the rest of them. Hack weist. In the meantime, however, now it's time for a story time with Solidus-Skully, and yeah, kind of similar to Pad Out for Time as I did for the Birth by Sleep commentary. Yes, in turn, I'm also going to be reading out some fairy tales for your joy. And yes, indeed, teleporting Princess Boobs! Yes, indeedy. But yeah, in any case, the one I'm going to be reading right now as we hunt for Lucky Emblems all throughout this video is Rapunzel. So let's read, shall we? After years of wishing for a child, a couple is expecting their first baby. The husband and wife live next to a high-walled flower and herb garden belonging to a sorceress. So I suppose in this case, basically being, you know, Kingdom of Beer, you know, Rapunzel's real parents versus, what I guess was meant to be the influence for Mother Gothel that eventually came in the Disney version, or mayhaps other adaptations where she got a name. Whatever. In any case, the wife craves the Rapunzel, which is either corn salad or rampion, which I guess is meant to be its true name. Bearing in mind the origin of this fairy tale is German, but anyway. Anyway, she names her Rapunzel after seeing corn salad in the garden and refuses to eat anything else and begins to waste away. Wow, pregnancy is fucking scary, man. Anyway, her husband fears for her life, and one night he scales the garden wall to steal some Rapunzel for her. When the man returns home, he makes his wife a salad out of Rapunzel, and then she eats it. But the next day, the wife craves more Rapunzel, more and more, till she craves human flesh. So her husband returns to the garden night after night to steal some gardeners, more Rapunzel, as he climbs down the garden wall. And eventually, I mean, kind of understandably, the sorceress catches him and is basically like, dude, what the fuck? So, yeah, he begs for mercy and explains his wife's condition, so the sorceress agrees to be lenient, allowing him to take all the Rapunzel he wants, on one condition. That's, basically, she gets the baby when it's born. I mean, a bit bass-backwards, you're stealing food from an ancient witch sorceress, so instead of replenishing her garden, instead you give her another mouth to feed? I don't know, maybe she's, unable to give birth? Whatever. In any case, he agrees. The wife gives birth to a baby girl, the sorceress takes the baby to raise it as her own, so yeah, and I guess unless the wife was cool with it, it's kind of a bizarre way in which, kind of a bizarre way in which the story goes. But yes, in any case, after being named Rapunzel after the plant her mother had craved alongside human flesh, she grows up to be a beautiful child with long golden hair. And when she turns 12, the sorceress locks her up in a tower in the middle of the woods, with neither stairs nor a door, so... How the hell does she even get in?
Let's see.
I guess maybe there were ladders involved? No, whatever. But in any case, Rapunzel basically sits in that tower. How does she even get food? Unless maybe the sorceress climbs in, day out to give her the food that... God, I'm overthinking this. In any case, and bear in mind she is 12 at this stage, so basically in order to visit Rapunzel, the sorceress stands at the bottom of the tower and calls, Rapunzel, Romeo, let down your hair so that I may climb your golden stair. Wow, what a fucking cheap ass. Couldn't even be bothered to get a ladder, she has to climb Rapunzel's hair.
Let's see.
Oh, well, it's one way of saving money, I suppose. In any case, whenever Rapunzel's long braided hair falls down to a hook in the window that lets it fall 20 yards and then she climbs it. Oh, so she actually does fasten it, so... Again, despite people's weight, and I mean, hair does have tensile strength, as I mentioned beforehand, but, yeah, it's fastened to the side of the wall, so that way it isn't gonna, you know, rip her scalp open every time people want to climb up and, say hello to Rapunzel. In any case, so whenever Rapunzel hears that rhyme, that's pretty much, you know, what happens when she does so. A few years later, I'm going to presume when she is of legal age, but then again, this is of, ancient times, of, hang on, when was this, first written? 1812. Okay, good. We have a game plan. Presumably when she's of legal age. But yeah, anyway, a prince rocks up in the forest, hears Rapunzel singing from the tower, and entranced by her ethereal voice, he searches her and discovers the tower, but is unable to get in. The prince returns to see Rapunzel singing, yada yada yada, sorceress visit, learns how to gain access. Huh, so he actually asked her. Anyway, the prince says, Oh Romeo, let down your hair, and Juliet, thinking it's the sorceress... Has this girl never heard of man's voice before? She was probably thinking, oh lady sorceress, your voice is so ponderous and baritone. Unless, of course, the prince had a very femmy voice, but that must have been embarrassing. Well, then again, he could have been a eunuch, who knows. But yeah, in any case, lets down her hair and, you know, lets the prince climb up. The two fall in love, you know, as you do, when you barely fucking know somebody outside of seeing them outside of a tower, and secretly marry as the sorceress visits Rapunzel by day. The couple plan a means of escape, the prince bringing his wife a strand of silk every night, until she has enough to make a ladder to climb down. Huh. Well, what do you know? Somebody's smart enough to bring a ladder. In any case, before the couple's escape plan can come to fruition, the sorceress visits Rapunzel and instantly asks her why all her clothes are tight around the waist. Yes. Apparently this was from the 1812 edition of, oh, dear god. Apologize for my German. The Kinder- und Hausmädchen. Hausmärchen? God, my German's terrible. But, oh. Dame Gothel. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, wait, so that must have been in the, yes, that must have been the revision which, the Grimm's Fairy Tales version that eventually gave her the Gothel name. Huh. That's interesting. Yes, thank you, Zeus, but if you don't mind, I'm too busy reading fables right now, your godliness. But, yeah, in a moment of forgetfulness, it's easier for, So in this version, it was the sorceress who cuts off, Rapunzel's hair and banishes her into the wilderness to fend for herself. So I guess she learned of her escape attempt. It's interesting. In any case, when the prince calls that night, the sorceress hooks Rapunzel's hair, lets it down, and to his horror he finds himself meeting with the sorceress, and basically, he says he'll never see Rapunzel again. He throws himself from the tower, landing in a patch of thorns, and somehow survives? Oh, but the thorns blind him. Well, I mean, better that than dying, I suppose. But yes, in any case, Rapunzel gives birth to, in the wilderness, to twin children. Huh. Were the boys named Romulus and Remus? Oh no, wait, it's a boy and a girl. So, Romulus and Remuletta. History jokes. They doing anything for you? In any case, for some years, the blind prince wanders through the wastelands of the country and eventually comes to the wilderness where Rapunzel has been living with their children. One day, as Rapunzel sings, the prince hears her voice again, and they're reunited, they fall into each other's arms. Happy, happy, joy, joy, and, Rapunzel's tears heal the prince's eyes and restore his sight. So it wasn't her hair, but rather her tears. That's curious. I'm wondering where exactly Rapunzel learned to do this. Unless, of course, eating corn salad gives your tears the power to the power to cure blindness. Every eye is an eye. But basically, the prince leads Rapunzel and their children back to his kingdom where they live happily ever after. So yeah, they live in the wilderness and then have to adjust to living in normal society again.
Food here is so good.
Good thing they just sort of glanced over that, but, well, then again, it was 1812, so, you know, education oh, actually, no, maybe, potentially, education standards, yeah, whatever, they were getting closer to what they relatively would have been by today, whatever. In any case, there was actually another version of the story that ends with the revelation that the sorceress had untied Rapunzel's hair after the prince leapt from the tower, and it slipped and basically left her trapped inside the tower down below. So basically, the sorceress gets her comeuppance instead of just sort of just going, fuck you, and pisses off. And so yeah, that was the story of the original Rapunzel. You know, not with healing hair, not with this Eugene bullshit, but instead with the prince and healing tears and, yeah, people trading babies and stealing corn salad. My god, what a tangled web we weave of the original origins of, stuff. In any case, though, here's a cutscene that concludes the Ratatouille story arc. Enjoy while I take a drink of the Pepsi.
Hey, little chef. Your bistro turned out to be a big hit.
Yeah, everybody in the whole town loves it.
Good idea, Uncle Scrooge.
Aye, naturally. But to be perfectly honest, I'm actually a wee bit surprised myself.
Gosh, Uncle Scrooge, I thought you had this all planned out in advance.
Wait, didn't you?
Oh, I had the business side of it planned down to the finest detail. The open-air theatre, the flyers, the promo data, the whole kit and caboodle. But that wasn't enough. It was Little Chef's commitment to his craft, his desire to put smiles on everyone's faces that made the bistro a success. A heart that cares that much is like a giant magnet. It grabs you and pulls you right in.
That must be why we like hanging around Sora. Don't you think so, Donald?
Yeah,
Aye, and perhaps why Little Chef took such a shine to you in the first place. Folks are hungry for connection, so you lads keep 'em well fed.
Sure thing. Right, little chef?
Ah, truly a great lesson for us all. If only multi-billion-dollar corporations could learn about the symbiotic relationship between a company and its customers, keeping one sated so that the other may feed, and then the other may feed upon its produce. Truly, a balance of equilibrium. Well, balance of equilibrium, that was fucking redundant. But in the meantime, however, I do have yet another tale to tell you. Yes, indeedy, you love Frozen, and if you don't, well, sorry. But I didn't like the Snow Queen, so instead here's the original tale of the Snow Queen, made into several small, fragmented stories, and it's actually one of his longest and most highly acclaimed stories. Oh dear, this is gonna be a while, but thank goodness we don't really have much of anything going on apart from just looking for Lucky Emblems, so here we go. The Snow Queen, by Han Solo. Anyway, stanza 1, a mirror and its fragments. The devil in the form of a troll. That wasn't a sentence I was expecting to hear in regards to the Snow Queen, but okay. Yes, anyway, the devil in the form of a troll has made a magic mirror that distorts the appearance of everything it reflects. The mirror does not reflect the good, the beautiful aspects of people, and things that it magnifies their bad and ugly aspects. Okay, that's odd. The troll's minions take the mirror all over the world to distort everything, then carry it up to heaven to mock God and the angels as they approach heaven. The mirror trembles, falls, shattering into billions of pieces. Some become window panes, some spectacles, and some get stuck in people's hearts and eyes, giving them a cold and bitter disposition. The troll laughs himself sore at his mischief. Kinda seems like he kinda fucked up a little bit, but I guess he got his wish in the end. He spread mischief and chaos all over the world. And I gotta say, like, for something that Frozen was eventually the end result of, kind of an odd way to have the original story start, if I do say so myself. In any case, years later, a boy named Kay and a little girl, Gerda, lived next door to each other in the garrets of buildings adjoining roofs in a large city. Where this is, nobody knows. And they could basically get to one another's homes by stepping over the gutters of each building. The two families grow vegetables, roses, blah blah blah. Basically, happy, happy, joy, joy. Closest playmates as if they were siblings, whatever. In any case, Gerda's grandmother tells the children about the Snow Queen, who was the ruler over the snow bees? Snowflakes that look like bees? Oh, that's unusual. Does Elsa have the power of snow bees? Anyway, as bees have a queen, so do the snow bees, and she is seen where the snowflakes cluster the most when looking out the frosted window. In any case, one winter, Kai sees the Snow Queen, who beckons him to come with her. Apparently, stranger danger wasn't a very big fear back then. Actually, no, it was a fear back then, because Kay draws back in fear from the window. By the following spring, Gerda has learned of a song that she sings. Roses flower in the vale, there that we hear the child Jesus' tale, because roses adorn the window box. The sight of the roses remind Gerda of her love for Kai, so I guess love does indeed bloom on the battlefield. And as does lung cancer, apparently. In any case, on a summer day, the splinters of the troll's mirror get into Kai's heart and eye, so Kai becomes cruel and aggressive. He destroys the window box garden, he makes fun of Gerda's grandmother, and he no longer cares about Gerda since now everyone appears bad and ugly to him. So it looks like he grew up and just became an asshole. But anyway, when winter comes again, the only thing he finds no fault in are the snowflakes, which he studies through a magnifying glass, and then Kai goes out to play in a sled, which in the Snowy Marketplace hitches it to a sleigh, driven by a mysterious robed figure. Oh my god, he got into contact with Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, or Organization 13. In any case, the sleigh drives through town, going faster and faster through the countrysides, then stops, and reveals itself to be the Snow Queen. She kisses Kai to numb him from the cold and make him forget about Gerda. So basically, this Snow Queen is a pedophilic little bitch who wants to fuck a little boy. Incidentally, I'm also getting some odd crossover with, what was it, the Lion Witch and the Wardrobe? Because wasn't there that whole plot point about, like an evil Snow Witch Queen who, takes interest in a little kid and tries to sway him from the heroes?
Let's see.
Again, I don't know if maybe it takes elements from this, or maybe it was from some others, but interesting parallel nonetheless. In any case, stanza 3, The Magician Woman's Garden. Anyway, the people conclude that Kai died in a nearby river and didn't give a shit about his death, except for Gerda, who goes to a river and offers her favorite red shoes, if the river will return Kai. A bit backwards, I don't think that's how that works, and even then you click your heels 3 times in order to get home from the land of Oz, my dear, but in any case, yeah. She basically jumps into a boat, throws him out further, and then, yeah, she gets caught in a drift. Anyway, she reaches the home of an old woman, who pulls her to shore with her crooked staff, and the woman is in fact a sorceress. Could it be the same sorceress from Rapunzel? Well, perhaps we will never know. Much like the nobodies of video editors that are lagging. If my recording gets cut off, I'm gonna be pissed. But nope, everything's back to normal. In any case, yeah, let's see, causing to forever. Yeah, basically, basically, the old woman is a bit of a creepy bitch, so maybe it is the same sorceress from the Rapunzel, because she wants Gerda to stay with her forever, and gradually makes her forget about Kai. So, did Gerda enter Castle Oblivion? Yeah. Basically, the woman lets Gerda play on a flower garden day after day, where all the flowers are in bloom, until one day she notices a rose in the woman's hat and remembers Kai, begins to cry, and basically one of her tears raise one of the rose bushes from the ground, which the roses assure her that Kai is not dead, so maybe it is the same sorceress. Like, I mean, there's tears that have magical powers and shit, so the Snow Queen and Rapunzel are one and the same? Oh man, the fucking fairy tale connected universe. And people thought Universal was the first thing to do that kind of shit. Oh man. But yeah, basically, Gerda says fuck you and leaves and decides to find Kai once again. Stanza 4, The Prince and the Princess. Gerda meets a crow who tells her that he might have seen Kai, and explains that a clever princess is in the land, and that she should get married as soon as she can find a man good for conversation. For 2 days, men met the princess in hopes of marrying her, but upon meeting her, they were tongue-tied. On the 3rd day, a small fellow with shabby clothes walked in confidently into the palace, and won over the princess by listening to her. Gerda sneaks into the palace with the crow, but finds that the prince is not Kai after all, But she is offered hospitality in the palace and asks for a horse, carriage, and boots so she can continue looking for Kai. I gotta say, like, I mean, this is turning out to be quite the adventure. I didn't really expect a lot of this from the fucking Snow Queen. It actually makes it sound like a much better story than both Frozen and any adaptation I've ever fucking seen of it, which admittedly is not many, but goddamn, the original tale is a lot more enjoyable than I thought. In any case, stanza 5, The Little Robber Girl. While travelling in the carriage, Gerda was carriage captured by robbers, and her life is spared when a little robber girl demands to have Gerda as a playmate. They ride together to the robber's castle, where the girl's pet doves tell Gerda that they saw Kai when he was carried away by the Snow Queen in the direction of Lapland. The captive reindeer Bay? So that's where that internet meme comes from. Anyway, they tell her how to get to Lapland since it's his home now. Oh, man. This could make for an interesting JRPG game of its own. Quite frankly, with all the fucking adventuring that's going on. Anyway, stanza 6, The Lap Woman and the Fin Woman. The robber girl frees Gerda and the reindeer to travel north to the Snow Queen's palace, and the two make stops at the Lap Woman's home, and then at the Fin Woman's home. The Fin Woman tells the reindeer the secret of Gerda's unique power. It is to save Kai in her sweet and innocent child's heart. So yeah, not the power of incestuous sibling love, Disney. Anyway, we have dialogue here. I can give her no greater power than she already has. Don't you see how strong it is? How men and animals are obliged to serve her? And how well she has got through the world barefooted as she is? She cannot receive power greater than me than she has now, which consists in her own purity and innocence of heart. If she cannot obtain the access to the Snow Queen and remove the glass fragments from little Kai, we can do nothing to help her. With the nobodies. And now, in the Snow Queen's palace, that is our last stanza. When Gerda reaches the Snow Queen's palace, she's halted by the snowflakes guarding it, and she prays the Lord's Prayer, which causes her breath to take the shape of angels, who resist the snowflakes and allow Gerda to enter the palace, where Gerda finds Kai alone, immobile on a frozen lake, which the Snow Queen calls the Mirror of Reason. On her throne she sits, Kai is engaged in the task that the Snow Queen gave him, that he must use the pieces of ice like a Chinese puzzle to form characters and words until he's able to spell the word the Snow Queen. That will basically be the spell to get him that she will release her power and give him a pair of skates. Okay. Anyway, I'm starting to run out of time now, but basically Gerda runs up to Kai and kisses him. He is saved by the power of love. Gerda weeps warm tears on him, melting his frozen heart and burning away the mirror splinter within it. As a result, Kai starts crying, dislodges the splinter from his eye, becomes cheerful and healthy again, remembers Gerda, they dance together happily, and basically, you know, they're caught into the dance. And, you know, eternity... Basically, everybody lives happily ever after, and as to what happens to the Snow Queen... Who fucking knows, but they basically get married, go, let's have babies! And at the end, the grandmother reads a passage from the Bible. Assuredly I say, unless you change and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. So, yeah, childhood innocence. Anyway, that was the Snow Queen! Holy fucking shit, what a fucking adventure that was, and I gotta say, again, Frozen, shitty film. The Snow Queen 2005 adaptation, a shitty film that does no way justice to the original story, but... Gotta say, the original story? Quite a fucking enjoyable tale. I like the Snow Queen. Holy shit, what a fucking character arc and journey it's been. So yeah, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed my rather abridged reading, but yeah man, that was a great way to waste some time and collect some Lucky Emblems, so... On that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll catch you next time for part 2 of the cleanup videos. See ya later. Bye-bye.
Sora?